everyone. This is Lark.
And Kimberly.
This is auto asphyxiation. I don't know why I keep doing that in reverse sometimes because now I like point to you and be like, okay, say your name. Anyway, um, this is auto asphyxiation, and this is the last episode of the year. But that really means nothing because I feel like since I guess 2025, oh, that's this year, since January 6th, doesn't it seem to all like everything seems to be blending together?
It does. It does indeed.
I don't feel like years, months, days, nights, daytime. I don't know the difference. It's all the freaking same to me.
It's all the same.
Um, yeah, it's too early in the show to start cursing immediately. I'm gonna wait till we get 30 minutes, 15 minutes into the show. So this year, we're talking about the year the car stole winter. The car has been stealing winter for a while, because when I moved here officially, maybe like around 2017. And here I mean by the great state of New Jersey. That was like the last time it really snowed for real. Um, it like literally seemed to have stopped snowing. And it's weird because this whole show is about how the car still winter, and of course we had like the biggest winter storm right before the shows.
Of of course, we haven't had a it actually wasn't as big as they initially predicted. I only got about 5 inches where I live, and up by where my dad lives in northern Passaic County, he got a lot of snow because he's on a mountain. But most for the most part, it was much less than they predicted it to be.
Well,
But it's still a mess
that
out.
it is. I mean, I'm in Wisconsin, and the thing is, Wisconsin is actually becoming less cold. When I used to come out here with my husband to visit his family in Wisconsin, it used to be really super cold all the time. I had to buy like clothes, I had to buy like special underwear, and I don't have to do that anymore, which is kind of weird. And now we're having a situation where it's like because we don't have snow, we don't really, I want to say like we don't really prepare for it. Like people are like, "Oh, what do we do now?" Or it's like we treat it like, "Oh, it's never going to happen again," or "This is weird," or "Nobody could predicted this." But the thing is that the climate crisis is predictable. And this changing weather pattern is not, oh, this is no, we did predict this. We did say with the climate crisis, with this obsession with the car, with all these things, that you were going to have changes in weather. But the thing is now it's kind of like we have this whole idea of like, oh, well, you could just drive, like drive in the winter, like, oh, well, because it's not, it's like, well, people shouldn't have shouldn't, what do you call it, the emergency response. Like, don't call an emergency. We have to keep everything going. People need to keep delivering food. I mean, this is something that has happened. Like, we have these apps and people are supposed to be contractors, so they can't take a day off. So it snows, and what do everybody do? I keep referencing Uber Eats, but we call Uber Eats, right? Because it's snowing, go ahead.
I think that that is such a selfish and awful thing for people to do. Like, and I am, as I've said before, a person that uses delivery apps usually to get groceries, sometimes to get odds and ends, but I never do it during a rainstorm or a snowstorm. I think that's so inconsiderate of the people that are kindly picking up your food, or in some cases, like when I order groceries, they're shopping for my food. Like, I wouldn't, if I'm not gonna go out because of the weather, I'm not going to send somebody out because of the weather. I think that's incredibly selfish.
Well, I think also too the way we have our cities planned, the way we have these weird zonings where our residents and our and our workplaces and our industry and our food are all in different spots. And so it's kind of like everybody has this assumption, especially in even New Jersey, oh, this is all about the car. And this addiction, auto asphyxiation. It hasn't just stolen our time, it's stolen our safety. It's stolen winter. It's making like public space, it's normalizing danger. It's kind of like, oh, if we have this, I think about the floods in California, the unpreparedness when we do have snow, the unpreparedness when we do have rain. And now also too, when you have a situation in places like New Jersey, think about the people who have contracts for, to plow things. Eventually, they're going to be like, well, it hasn't snowed in like 5 years, so we're going to reduce your contract. I mean, I don't know how that works, but I can
Yeah.
totally see that happening. And when you have that happening, then when it snows, you're going to have less people because the people who they're going to hire fewer people to do the plowing. And so, and then it's like we have a situation where the government is like, I'll tell you something, and let me I'll let you speak. Um, when we are going out to the Midwest, you can tell the places that are pro-government, or I just put like this, people who are anti-government, the red states, they don't have any plows, so the ground's not plowed. It's like so dangerous to like drive around. It's like your life is in your hands, and there's no public transit.
Well, that
So
there
you
is
can
socialism.
but it's weird though. Like you can see how dangerous it is if you are a place where it is they're more Republican and they're kind of like we don't want to pay taxes and you're driving around. It's like they don't plow. It's like dangerous. People have these lifted gigantic trucks because they almost have to. And if you don't have one of these cars, you're almost in danger. And it's really, it's really weird. I mean, it's like, I don't know. Like, and also, too, what happened to like snow days? Did you guys have snow days before?
Oh, absolutely. I miss snow days. Like I miss the winters that we used to get in New Jersey where everything seemed to slow down when we would get hit with a big storm rather than this absolute like almost like wind up key toy that has to keep constantly going and going and going no matter what the weather, no matter what the time. Like we're not the US Postal Service. Uh, we don't really need to keep going like that during winter time. Like winter is supposed to be a time where you like slow down in your life and reflect and like heal yourself for the coming spring. It's not supposed to be a time where we keep running around like it's the middle of summer. And I think that us not having snow over the last 10 years or so, like the storms that I remember, like my senior year in high school, they called off an entire week of school, like on Sunday night, because we had so many snowstorms that were coming that week that they just canceled an entire week of school. Like, talk about a snow day.
And people think that that's like, oh, well, that's horrible. They have snow days, but it's really not horrible. You have that kind of break in the winter time, and that kind of and it also too, it just makes us all human, makes us appreciate nature. This whole like, oh, we've got to make sure that business stays open 24 hours a day, have a 24-hour city, and we don't take time to reflect on nature, reflect on each other. We're in this situation where it's like I need to be serviced right now. Not I need to be serviced. Capitalism needs to be serviced. Hegemony needs to be serviced. I think about, and then it's this whole idea. I just remember when it does snow here, it rarely does, but when it did snow, you're walking to the train station and if they do plow, they plow the streets first and they plow the sidewalks later. Then they plow the snow into the bike lanes. And what do you do at this point? I noticed that when out here in New Jersey, okay, we don't really, you know what? I'm not going to call things that have paint bike lanes, but okay, I don't want to call it that. Like we're
A
not even
suggested bicycling area.
yeah, it's congested bicycling area. But when they plow the streets, they plow it into the bike lanes. The snow goes into the bike lane. So it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? And then, it's very interesting, like how a lot of the streets are set up in the morning. Like in the morning, they make sure you can drive your car. And I feel like this is a problem. This is people who don't have cars, people who take public transit, people who ride their bicycles, they're not even thought about. I mean, think about when you have to get your car out. When it
Exactly.
snows, like how, I mean, you work as a nurse. So sometimes you work at night. So
Yeah.
like they plow. When do they plow? You've had to like you use an Uber because they haven't plowed yet.
They the other night actually they were calling for freezing rain on top of the snowstorm that we just got, and I chose to take a ride because they have like SUVs available. If you use Lyft or Uber. So I chose to take a ride and spend some money I actually didn't have, rather than drive my car myself because right now my traction control is off and that's unsafe. And it ended up not freezing rain.
Well, that's the whole, but you know what though? And I think about, our we go, oh, the weather, it causes transit delay. That people use the weather because also I'll tell you something, extreme changes in the weather, it does things to our tracks. I'm not saying the Montclair derailment that happened recently was because of the weather, but I'm also telling you that temperature changes actually makes derailment more possible. And when we talk about the winter and it snows or whatever, and there are delays in regards to the trains, we blame it on the weather rather than underinvestment. We act like we've never had weather before. I mean, we act like what is snow? Like we act like this is California. Like we've never experienced snow or coldness or rain or any of these things, which seems to me a little strange because there it does snow, right?
It,
I mean, I know
it
it hasn't.
It has always snowed. I think a problem lies with the fact that a lot of people that are getting onto the road nowadays, like, are younger and have never really experienced having to drive or take public transportation when the weather is bad, because we haven't really had the kind of winters that I grew up with in at least 10 years in New Jersey. I would say at least 10 years in New Jersey. So. Yeah, when it finally snows, everybody's like confused because they have either never driven in the snow before because they're younger, or they have not driven in the snow in such a long time that they don't remember quite how to tra transit it anymore.
And why do we have to drive in the snow? I think that's kind of nuts to me. I have to say, when there's weather, I'm terrified. Um, and I have to drive. The other day, it was raining really hard, and I was, typically I go to, I'm in Newark or I'm in Manhattan. I had to go to some place in New Jersey. I think it was, I want to say West Orange. And it was like I had to drive there. And because there was no public transit, no way for me to get there by public transit. It was like nighttime, it was raining, and I had to take like a Xanax when I got home. It was like just nerve-wracking. I was just like, are you kidding me? Like I have to risk death to be out on these roads, and that's normalized. Your view, if you tell somebody, and I noticed this, if you tell somebody I can't go because I can't get there by public transit, or I don't. And if you don't say you have a car, because if you say you have a car and you go, I don't feel safe driving, and if it's not, they haven't called a state of emergency, people act like you have a problem, like there's something wrong with you, or like you're not trying to do like, you know what I mean? Like you're not being a competent or being hardworking. It's really weird.
I've generally, fortunately, worked jobs that if I call out on a snow day, it's not as big of a deal. Like I've not worked at like a hospital. At nursing homes that I've worked at, sometimes we've had to stay overnight in preparation for a storm. And they definitely will absolutely keep you o overnight again if the road conditions are still so bad that other people can't get into work and you can't leave, they'll keep you. But that's a critical kind of business. That's a critical industry, so it's like understandable, and there's usually like bonus pay and higher wages and stuff to make up for that time that you're doing. But I have been fortunate in most of my nursing career to work jobs where I've been able to call out on snow days. But it's like, when I used to work for Starbucks and I lived in a different area that a lot of the other people that I worked with did. I would get a lot more snow than they would. I lived at my up by my dad, and I would get a lot more snow than they would in Bergen County, and I would have to like take pictures and show it to them and be like, "No, you don't understand. Like we've got like you guys got a light dusting of snow. My dad got 9 inches of snow. I can't get out of here."
And I think this is something that's really interesting. You know, we're still, I think we're talking about autonomous vehicles. We're talking about electric vehicles, but we're still not talking about building public transit. I mean, the one thing I do like is that when I am working in the city or I am working in Newark, I am literally like 10 minutes away by 15 minutes away by train. I mean, my train is literally like 5 minutes from my house. Um, and even though, yes, it's a lot of snow and sometimes I have to walk through snow, I still only have to walk 5 minutes. It's really like literally like a 0.02 miles away from my house. Um, and I don't have to like, I don't have to worry about the weather. I feel safe. I'm like on this train. I feel like I feel safe. And I feel like a lot of people don't have that option. It's like we know we have these extreme weather patterns, but instead of creating options for people using public transit, I think in some ways this is why um the train and the trolley are better than the bus because the bus is still requiring somebody to drive in these horrible weather conditions. I mean, of course, we have that we should have the option of just not of having remote work, but for those who are nurses or for people who have to be in a location, the fact that they have to invest in a private vehicle to me seems, oh, especially in New Jersey, where as dense as we are, we could easily have situations where you could be taking public transit, a train, a subway, a trolley to going to where you need to go, and it should be running 24 hours a day. We
Yeah.
have the capacity in regards to the amount of people, and we have in regards to the size. North Jersey could have trains all over the place. And I mean, it's just, I feel like we've really kind of like it's almost like every person for themselves. And that person for themselves kind of thing is all about the car. Like you need to have, oh, well, because of the weather, and we all heard people say this, because of the weather, we need to have a car. Because, what if it's
It's
raining? What if it's snowing? We need to
that's
have a car.
it's so much more dangerous. Like, like you like laugh reacted that thing that I posted the other night that was like, imagine trusting me to drive. It's not only nighttime, but it's in the rain and I have an astigmatism. Like, like that's literally, and everything was just a blur and a colorful smear. Like I have an astigmatism. I wear glasses. I have bad eyesight and I'm almost a lady of a certain age and and my night vision is the first thing to go and yeah, it can be rough driving at nighttime in the rain and it sometimes feels like I'm just going to drive into a tree at literally any moment, but because of where I live and the way that everything is set up, public transportation is almost inaccessible to me.
Well, I think it's so interesting. Um, I have driven maybe 7 times this year. And for the first time ever, I've had to drive at night. And I will tell you, Kimberly, it was terrifying. I'm like, am I like I can't see? Um, it is really just disturbing. Something interesting can happen. Um, and this is kind of a tangent, but also just talking about like women and public transit and freedom and autonomy. Both my mother-in-law and mother have essentially gotten their license taken from them.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
the thing I think is interesting though is that my father and my father-in-law, they didn't get their license taken from them. And I'll tell you something, it was really interesting because I didn't think about it, but then I thought about it and I was like, they were like, well, you're not safe. It's not safe for you two to drive. But and the thing is that both of my father and father-in-law, they both had similar incidents. Not quite as bad as my mother-in-law. My mother just had a weird eye thing. So she didn't even have like any kind of, whatever. And they took her license, but they didn't take my father and father-in-law's license. And I thought they're older. They're in their late 80s.
Oh my goodness.
Um, and I think that's really interesting how they do this women often like the kind of jobs that we have, we have to go to work early, come home later, drive more places. Um, and the fact that, and we get paid less money, but and to accommodate us, we really do need a good public transit system. We do need, good bike lanes. We do need zoning laws changed so that we can live and work and shop in an area that's like 15 minutes from us. But most women, if they're not married to men, don't make enough money to live in a 15-minute city. Um, we don't live by public transit. Um, and I mean, I'm being really honest. I know I couldn't afford to live by public transit if I wasn't married. That's
And no, it jacks
nuts.
up prices ridiculously. Like when I lived in Harrison, the apartment that I had in Harrison with all the amenities and whatnot that I never used included, it was nearly like 2600 dollars a month because of parking and because of the close proximity. Like I lived like a block away from the path.
Like we need to normalize number one, normalize taking a day off from work. Normalize not having to have a car because of the weather conditions. Normalize literally, investing in public transit, and transit that's not car centric, that is not dependent on perfect weather. I mean, this is kind of like this situation where it's like, oh, well, the reason why you need a car is because what if it's nighttime? What if it rains? What if it snows? Well, that's not an excuse. That means that our public transit, our transportation system is poor if we
Yes.
need perfect weather in order for it to work. That doesn't make any
Yes.
sense. And it's like that's a very normalized thing. Like, oh, it's at night, so I have to drive. Oh, I mean, this is very a part of U.S. culture, and that is a thing that we have to figure out a way to not normalize that. I mean, and I'm, when we talk about, oh, we need to carpool, we need to do no. I want the government. I want our social contract to actually be enforced. I want there to be, I think about the best stop by my house. Across the street from the light rail, there's a bus shelter that goes south or towards like, it goes south, goes towards Newark, goes towards East Orange. Of course, there's no, it's just a sign by a dumpster.
Oh, that's
Um, there's no seats.
perfect. That's
Um,
that's such a
it,
perfect analogy for New
it's
Jersey transit sometimes. Like,
Well, I'm just thinking it's like people get off on the light rail, so you would know some of those people are going to transfer to the bus, and it's kind of like, oh, if you have they have a parking, so they have a whole gigantic parking lot, and then it's core like my house is up the street. But if you take the bus, well, screw you. It's like there's nothing. It's just it doesn't matter to see a sign by a dumpster where you could wait for the bus. There's, why can't we have heated bus shelters? Why can't we have, it look nice? Why can't
yeah.
we have, it is just ridiculous to me. We need a city that works like towns that work in the winter and work when it does snow. I mean, that's the thing. It's like weird because it's like the climate crisis has stolen winter, but in some ways, winter still exists. It just exists in a more dangerous way. It doesn't exist in
Yes.
a way with like, with the way we used to have it. It exists because
Cozy
then all
nights.
of a sudden, oh, yeah, yeah, exactly. It starts snowing, or in California. we just have these massive like rainstorms and it's just like, houses float away. And instead of having like regular normal weather, we have this extreme weather and we're not prepared. And essentially, if you don't have a car, you could actually die. This is not, we're in this weird, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like we need to have our movement and transportation needs to be a public good. Our bicycling is not a hobby. So it shouldn't be just something you do when the weather is nice. And buses and trains need to be normal and decent and functional. And it's just not the way it is
No,
now.
no, it isn't. It like has like the framework of trying to be functional, but then like New Jersey Transit just kind of like puts its hands up and goes, we tried. But like you're right. I want the government to do its job. I want the government to do what my taxes pay for, which is providing public services to citizens. That's what I want my government to do.
Well, I think one thing that's really interesting and really kind of good is that Mondami, he's going to be sworn in as the mayor of New York, and he's going to be at the, I guess, the downtown, sorry, the city hall, one of the abandoned subway stops. He's
Yes.
going to be signed. He's going to be not signed. He's going to be sworn in there, and I think that's what we need too. We need like better PR for public transit, but we need that in New Jersey too. I think that we have this whole idea that, oh, New Jersey is not New York, and New Jersey is not New York. But the thing is, this is that we are the metro area. We are an
Yes.
area that should be having, we shouldn't have to drive here. And I know like, we have a lot of environmentalists here. We have a lot of people who are into the green stuff here. But here is what I want to challenge you. Number one, one of the primary drivers for the climate crisis in New Jersey is our cars. And
Yeah.
it's individual car ownership. People are like, well, it's not really the individual car. Yeah, it is. It's
No, it
actually says
absolutely is.
that's actually what it is. So if you care about the environment, you could talk about everything under the, it's like people will talk about everything under the sun, but that. They'll talk about they've got, plastic. The kids are playing on plastic.
They
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 got
they
all kind of. Go ahead.
they don't want to give up the luxury, the like private luxury that a vehicle gives them. They don't want to give up the convenience that a vehicle gives them because when you use public transportation as your main form of of getting around, or you use a bicycle as your main way of getting around, it's not as easy. It's not as from point A to point B as getting in your car, starting it up, driving to the grocery store, doing your business, and then going back home. You have to sometimes transfer. You have to sometimes take a little extra time to get to where you're going. Like you have to make accommodations for that. And people in the United States are not willing to make accommodations to make things better.
Well, here is something I want to tell people that I feel that the way New Jersey is set up, we could have public transit here that is as good as New York. We have the capability and the population size and the density that would allow us to have public transit that would be as easy as getting in your car. But we have to believe that we can do it, and also we have to demand it. People demand stuff in New Jersey all the damn time, all the
All the time.
time.
We're a
Give
very
me
demanding people.
New Jersey is a very demanding place. I want my parking. I want this. I want that. You need to demand the fact that you don't have to drive demand good public transit. Demand the fact that you can get off that you're not forced into your car. I feel like I said auto asphyxiation is not a consenting relationship in New Jersey. It is
It,
like it would be fine if you were consenting to this, but I don't think anybody's consenting to auto asphyxiation in New Jersey. I feel that this is something that people are being forced to do because they have to like get to work. They have to pick up their kids. But, I'll tell you something, the climate crisis doesn't care about all that. It does not care about that. And the, you know, the our it's becoming more floods are becoming more common in New Jersey.
Yes.
The tables are rising. People who didn't have flooding in their basements before are now having flooding. And it's like eventually people are going to drop you from your insurance, just like in California. People, like they're like, oh, we want to build back in Altadena. No, you know who's not going to let you build back? The insurance companies. So you could just keep smoking that dream because that's
It,
it's a pipe
sa
dream.
Same thing down in Florida. You can't, there's a lot of places where you can't even get homeowners insurance anymore, and it is a car is not compatible with a care-centric society. Cars are isolating, cars are damaging, like they're just like think of all of the microplastics that are being frictioned off your car every time you drive it. Like just in and of that, they're dangerous. And they're a public health issue. The emissions, everything. It's a public health issue. And
And even the tires, because even the tires, people keep going like, "Oh, electric vehicles," but what about the tires? You have the runoff into the tires. There's a lot of chemicals from the tires that go into the water and like kill our little fishes and get into our water supply. But go ahead.
but even electric vehicles, like, they're not completely green on their own. There's a lot of nefarious activity that goes on to get the rare earth minerals to make the electric batteries and to make all of the components and things like that. So I digress, but that's not even a way out of it. And they're still isolating and they're still dangerous because 90% of the people I see driving of late, it seems to me, and I'm not a perfect driver, but it seems to me that a lot of people really need to retake a driver's exam. Like the actual, like you get in a car and you retake a driver's exam and you relearn all of the laws and how to like be a courteous driver again because something happened during COVID. Everybody came out feral and nobody knows how to drive anymore. So
We know,
per
and
perhaps if they can't pass their driver's exam, it pushes more people to public transportation.
oh yeah, in Wisconsin, where I am right now, I've had a case of one friend of my husband. They were riding their motorcycle and a car ran into them. And they lost the wife, his friend's wife lost her arm and leg in the
Oh
accident.
my goodness. Oh my goodness, that's terrifying.
Yes. And then another accident, a guy, she was kind of like driving in a rural area um from her parents' farm because we're in Wisconsin. And a kid in a lifted truck, because a lifted truck, why would you need that if you're a kid? Was speeding and passed the stop sign, ran into her car. She had a little bitty car, ran into her, broke every bone in her body, and killed her two dogs.
Oh my
So
goodness.
this is this is the kind of violence that's happening with the car. We always have these whole electric, bicycle, electric scooters. We have all these stories about those, and I have my issues. We've already talked about that. But let's not forget this winter season, how deadly people's cars are and how much harm that it causes. And how next year, let's hope that we can do better, not just have a different kind of car, but have a different way that we do transportation. Get off of auto asphyxiation, whether it be electric or gas or, self-driving. I can't believe legal American bicyclists and they're in bed with Waymo. That is just wild as hell to me.
And
Um,
all those are personal injury lawyers.
and all those personal injury lawyers. We're gonna talk about that. We were trying to keep it like, we were trying to end it on a positive note. We'll come back to you next year, League of American Bicyclists. We haven't forgotten you. Anyway, with that, we will say you know, have a safe, I know you're gonna have a safe new year. Have a safe new year. Watch where the balls drop. What do you have? That's not, um,
The
yeah,
balls
yeah,
drop.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch the ball drop on TV.
So And that is it. Have a good rest of your 2025.
Goodbye 2025 and hello 2026.
Oh yeah.